So there's a good chance you think you're a really good negotiator, especially if you're a real estate agent. You believe you're the greatest negotiator there is. We're going to find out today if that's actually the case. Welcome to today's morning meeting. I'm Greg Luther, the one guy that meets with you every single day to help you in growing your real estate business. Today, we're going to talk about negotiation. We're going to talk about, are you really good at getting a great deal for your client, great terms for your client, and do you apply that to your own life as well? Negotiation does not mean trying to get it for a good price. It doesn't mean trying to get it for a lot less than whatever the asking price is. And it certainly doesn't mean trying to offer a low number and then hold the line to show them that you're really serious. So I got to ask you, what is negotiation and what is the sign of a good negotiator? Let me know in the comments here what your thoughts are on this as well. What are the signs of a good negotiator? And are these just the types of things that your typical real estate agent says, oh, I really care about your business. I'm a strong negotiator. I'm going to get a great deal for you. All of those silly buzzwords that don't really make a difference at all when you get to brass tacks. When you get down to brass tacks, you get to the real numbers when it comes to negotiating. I want to give you some examples today, and I want to talk a little bit about how you can become successful in getting what you're looking for. So, a couple of examples that I can think about here immediately because we just did the deal last week. I told many of you on the last call about our purchase of another pickup truck, which, if you're going to get into the car market, you got to be good. These guys are choreographed, they are sales trained, and they do a really good job. And frankly, I think that's why a lot of people kind of have a bad taste in their mouth, mostly about used cars. This was a new car. You don't really have that as bad about new cars, but the fact is you just feel under prepared compared to someone that's trained really, really well on the way that they negotiate. So I just got a truck last week, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that story and how that happened. Because, by the way, let me give you a little tip to begin with when it comes to negotiating, whether for yourself or for your client. Let me give you a tip. If you're negotiating for a car on a car purchase, if you didn't walk out at least once, you left money on the table. You paid too much. I can promise you that's the case. If you didn't physically say, I'm sorry, we can't come to terms, that's just not going to work, we're that daggone close and just can't make it work. If you didn't physically walk out and they didn't let you go, you left money on the table. So I'll tell you a story about this, and then I'll tell you a little bit about how this can apply to your real estate business as well, because I want you to be a good negotiator. I want you to do a great job, and most importantly, get what your client wants. See, a lot of people forget this whole fiduciary responsibility thing. Your primary goal, your first and foremost rule here, you'll get the best deal, the best property for your client's needs, then the best price. But like, you can't say, hey, I didn't get a great deal on their number one choice, so we're going to go to their number two choice. That's not fiduciary responsibility at all. Your number one goal is to secure the best property for your buyer's needs. Now, it works the other way too with sellers, of course. But your job is to get them what they want. Then maybe you can get a better deal, get better terms, find something that works well for them. So anyway, back to last week and buying this pickup truck, and this is a nice one. Many of you know I have a whole bunch of pickup trucks. I think I have 4 right now, and they're the big ones because they haul all of my horse trailers. So it's not like your typical F-150 or something. These are this nearly 6 figures. So these are big deals. I found a truck. I wanted a really nice truck. I wanted literally the nicest one in the country. So I had to go, I think it's an 8.5-hour trip or an 8-hour trip to get there. Found the perfect truck, but I wanted to get a good deal on it too. I know there's not a lot of people that can buy a truck like this or that would spend that kind of money on a truck. So I wanted to get a good deal. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about this negotiating. What do you think are some of the key factors to being a good negotiator? Let me know in the comments here. I see a lot of people saying, you've got to ask the right questions. A lot of people think you need to hold the line, start low and see if you can come somewhere in between. A good negotiation means both people think they lost a little. All of those silly phrases that don't really mean anything, and they don't really teach you anything either. You should have a general idea of here's what is the very best deal that I can negotiate before you even go in. Now, that might have to do with terms as much as it does with price. So I did all my research. I'd been researching trucks all over the country because I'm looking for the fanciest, nicest, all of the options, the bells and whistles. This thing's got everything power. It is ridiculous. To get a truck for six figures is ridiculous in itself. Very unique color, very unique rims, all of those factors. But I also know it's an exclusive number of people that are willing to buy this in the first place. So, of course, I make the call. Hey, before I make the trip down there, I just want to make sure it's actually on the lot. I don't know if you guys have ever seen these where it says it's in transit, which means it's coming from the factory eventually, and it might be 8 weeks. I didn't want to make that trip down there. So I said, I just want to make sure it's available. This is literally what the guy said word for word. He says, yep, I'm looking at it right now. I don't know how much longer it's going to be on the lot here, though. It is available at this very minute. How far away are you? Dude, you're not going to negotiate with me with that crap. Like you're looking slimy to begin with, trying to create a sense of urgency. I saw it on your website 10 days ago. It's not going to leave in the next hour. So you don't want to try and do this egotistical positioning. This is true when you're sitting across from a seller. This is true now. We're going to be negotiating with buyers on how much we're worth. And it's the reason this morning meeting is so important, because if you're not good at building your value, they'll find someone that will do it for cheaper. Oh, I got someone that'll do it for cheaper. We'll do what for cheaper? Represent you? Well, let me build value in showing you what it is that we do. So anyway, he started that whole pitch with me. I end up going to the dealership, and we start the back and forth, right? The back and forth is required because they're trying to negotiate the best they can. Well, the problem they've got with me is I don't need to buy in. I got all kind of vehicles. I've got 13 vehicles. I don't need one more. I want one more because I have 4 trailers. I want 4 trucks. So I'm not needing to negotiate as hard as they would usually have when someone walks in there and they're like, I need to trade in this car. I need a new vehicle. I need it to be within this payment range. All of those factors that usually come into play. They'll do what they call their 4 squares, right? Here's your price. Here's your trade-in. Here's your payment here. So they'll do all of that stuff. They can't do that with me because they can clearly see I'm not doing a trade. I'm not even worried about financing. I'm paying cash for this thing. So they can't get me on that side. Well, I know the number that I want. So long story short, what happens is I get to the number that I'm looking for, and they're off. They can't do it. We're off by $3,000. Now, they'll try and tell you there's not much markup in new cars, which is ridiculous. There's not percentage-wise, but on 6 figures, there's 5 grand. So I know the number I want. We get within 3 grand, and I'm like, sorry, it's just not going to be able to work. And I start gathering my stuff. Well, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Let me see if I can get you that number. Look, don't waste your time going to go see this guy and the back and forth again. And he said this and everything. Here is my freaking number and not a dollar more. So he comes back. Well, you split the difference. Now we're off by $1,500. Dude, it's just not going to work. I appreciate your time. You've done a great job. It's just not going to be a good fit. So I leave. I put on my sunglasses as I'm walking out the door, and I kind of look off to the side. And as I look off to the side, I can see behind me in my sunglasses, I can see the reflection of he's doing something like this on down by his side. And then all of a sudden him, and here comes a salesman, which must be the sales manager. They're going to follow me out. So I act like I don't even see him. I see that they're following me in my reflection. So I act like I don't even see him. And I call my assistant. Yeah, I was going to be buying this truck here, but doesn't look like it's going to work. So I'm on my way back right now. I'll give you a call here in a minute. I pop the hood or the back of my Mercedes, and I'm acting like I'm looking at stuff in there. Yep, I'll give you a call here in a little bit. All right, I'll see you later. And I hang up and, oh, hey, how are you guys? Oh, what do we got to do to put this deal to, dude, why are you out here talking to me again? I already told you what this number is. Now, again, this is not holding the line. This is just knowing there's a difference in motivation. Let me tell you why I was so good at negotiating. By the way, I did get it at that number. They tried, well, will you go ahead and get financing and just keep it for 90 days and then you can pay it off? That way we get a credit on financing. We can go cheaper on the car if we can make a little money on a loan. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm writing a check or I'm not doing it at all. So I did get it at the right number. Here's how it happened. I asked a lot of questions before we ever got to negotiating. See, when you're looking at a home, let's say you're meeting with a seller and you're taking a tour of the property, the questions you should be asking are not about the house. The questions you should be asking are for when you get to the table on price, on terms, on closing date, on where they're moving, on what their real motivation is. You have to ask a lot of really good prying questions so that you can get them what they want and find a way that that meets with what you want. So here's what I found that you didn't even know this, and you wouldn't even know this exists until I tell you right now. As I pulled into that car dealership, there were balloons everywhere. They got these what I call sandwich boards, the signs that they can just put on the sidewalk. 120% of your trade-in value, special today. They've got this big event going on for 3 days. You go in and they got these forms sitting out on a table when you first walk in. They've got all this stuff going on. I asked a lot of questions. This salesperson that I'm negotiating with doesn't work for the dealership. He's out of Texas. He's in Kentucky this week. He's in North Carolina next week. He's in Michigan the following week. He's in Chicago the following week. I think I got those two backwards. He's Chicago and then Michigan. And the reason for that is because they are a marketing company that gets paid a fee to come out to do all the advertising. You get lots of people to come in and they get $500 a car. And they don't care what those things sell for. They don't care if the dealership loses money as long as they get $500 a car. And they are very scripted, very good at sales. They know exactly how to get you committed beforehand. They wouldn't even take my initial offer over until I circled. Are all decision makers here? Before I submit your offer to our sales manager, are all of the decision makers here? Yes. Will you be getting financing or cash today? Cash. If we can come to terms that are acceptable with you, do you have enough time to fill out all of the paperwork? Please note it will take up to 90 minutes. Yes. I did all of that before they took it. Why? Because they're putting me in a box. Now I can't say, sorry, I don't have time. I got to go meet a friend for lunch. Oh, I want to go think about it. Now I can't do all of that stuff. But I found out who was selling, how he got paid, what's important to him. And what I'm able to see is those signs of there's room left on the table, whatever. He wants to get this deal done. He's not getting a percentage of the spread or any of your typical salesperson stuff. I know this is a third-party company that's in for this event that's actually doing the sales side. He doesn't even know what the sales manager's name is. This is their first day doing this. I'm there at 9 a.m. So that puts me in control. So I'm able to get to the right number, but it's because I asked a lot of questions long before we ever got to the negotiating table. As a matter of fact, I wasn't going to test drive the vehicle. I don't need to test drive it. I know what it drives like. It drives like a new car. It's under warranty. I'm not worried about any of that stuff. I got 3 other trucks. I'm fine on all that. But when I found out those details, instead of saying, let's go in and put a deal together, I said, you know what? Yeah, let's go ahead and drive it for a minute. I'm only going to go a mile or two, but yeah, let's go ahead and drive it. Why did I do that? Because it's like touring a house. Do you want to sit down first or would you like to tour the house first? I want to tour the house first, not to see the house, to ask a lot of questions. Oh, really? You guys are out of Texas. Oh, wow. That's all. So what, you just charge them like a flat fee? Oh, and then you get a commission? Well, that's cool, man. I'm in sales myself. I really like that. So you're in a new city every week. That's kind of cool. You get to travel around. So you guys just got a truck and a trailer with all of your signs and stuff, and you go city to city. That I'm getting data. That's what negotiating is. It's gathering as much data as you possibly can. The more data you can gather, the more you can position everything exactly the right way. Literally 5 minutes before we started here, literally 5 minutes before, my realtor down in Lexington, Kentucky, I'm buying 100 and some acres down there. My realtor down there literally just said, I'll see if it'll focus for you. That says, congratulations, trying to line up the home inspection right now. I just got a place for $250,000 less than they were asking. No counter offer at all, because we got a lot of questions answered. By the way, she's one of my platinum members. She's very good at what she does. She knew exactly when they wanted to close, exactly what's going to be included, what farm equipment is there, what is not, what day they need possession. We got everything perfect. And because all the other terms were perfect, we can get $250,000 off of the price, and they accepted the very first offer. That's part of negotiating. So you as a real estate agent, when you're meeting with buyers, when you're meeting with sellers, you need to ask a lot of questions. It reminds me of a coaching retreat we had a few years ago. No, 14 or 15 years ago, a coaching retreat that we had. I know it's been over 12 years ago, where I did a negotiating technique. As a matter of fact, if my team's watching here, let's do this at the Columbus event coming up here in a couple of months. This negotiating event that we put together is you're a seller and you're a buyer. This half of the room is sellers, this half is buyers. Let's team everybody up one-on-one. And this is not in housing. This is on a refrigerated truck. There's a refrigerated truck that you need if you're a buyer, that you need for your business because you're in the trucking industry and your old one's broke and you need a new truck. And you saw this on Facebook Marketplace. Back then it was Craigslist. But now I would say you saw it on Facebook Marketplace, or maybe it's on Truck Finder, right? Wherever they advertise trucks, refrigerated trucks for sale. You're going to meet them and see the truck, and you got to negotiate the very best deal that you can. And then I tell the seller, I give them a long list of all of their facts. And some of their facts are, you need to sell this thing immediately because they're going to repo it if it's not going by Friday. You lost your trucking license for hauling some illegal stuff and you haven't been able to pay the bill. You've got like 22,000 in equity in this truck. But if you don't get it sold by Friday, they're going to repossess this truck and you're not going to get anything. So you need to find a way to put this deal together. Now, that's not known by the buyer unless the buyer asks. So moral of the story is we had 150 agents in the room. I saw who was sellers and I saw who was buyers. And I walked up to our whiteboard and I put this agent's name and this agent's name and this agent's name. These are my coaching members that I know. I put their name on the board, 3 of them. And I said, all of you guys negotiate the very best that you can. All of you buyers, you get it as low as you can. All of you sellers, you sell it for as high as you can. And when we got to the end, and I didn't tell them anything, we got to the end and we found who negotiated the strongest. You know who it was? The 3 that were on the board. It was this person and this person and this person. And when people heard how low they got that price, if they were the buyer, or how much they sold it for, if they were the seller, there was 2 and 1. And when they saw that number, they were like, holy crap, how did that happen? Because they asked lots of questions and they got to the motivation. You see, if you're trying to move to Florida because your grandkids are growing up so fast and you never get to see them anymore and your life is getting shorter and you want to enjoy your life and you want to do all that stuff, $5,000 for your home up in snow country doesn't make a difference at all. But I got to get you to that motivation, or you're going to keep saying, if I don't get my price, I'll stay here for another 2 years. And you actually get in your own way and you may actually stay there another 2 years like a dumbass, because you thought you were negotiating and it just didn't feel like it was the right time. It's because people didn't get to your real motivation. A good negotiating real estate agent asks lots of questions to find out what's really important for their client. Money is important, but I'll promise you it's not the most important. So if you're truly representing their best interest, don't think that means financial. I want you to think about this as an agent. When you go out to a listing appointment, when you go out now to buyer appointments where you need to negotiate your buyer deal, you have to ask lots of questions to get to their true motivation, to get to their emotional factor, to get to everything we're going to need so that we can put something together that first offer is an immediate yes, and it's so strong, they're afraid to counter, they're afraid to say no. Everything is too perfect. That is how you negotiate, and do so the right way. The more data you can get, the better job you can do even for the other party to truly make it a win-win. Because I want you to think about this. If there's a seller they're a home seller and they have two offers on a home. They're asking 650 for their house. Okay. Which offer will they take? They're asking 650. They get one offer for 660 over asking price that is requiring financing, and they get another offer that's 655 that's all cash. Which offer is better? The 655 is a lot more money and a lot more secure and a lot more guaranteed than the 660. Well, what if they get a cash offer at 655, but they also have another one at 650, what they were asking, but there's no appraisal contingency, no inspection contingency, all of those factors, right? Well, wait a minute. What if they get an offer at 649, but it's the right closing date? It's the right, you can have possession until your kids finish the school year. You might get that thing at 645. So the better you can negotiate, the better you're going to be in the end in helping everybody to get to a win. Because really, when it comes to negotiating, it's everybody wins or everybody loses. There is no one or the other. The only way you're going to get what you want is if they get what they want. And I can assure you, anybody in this world, if they have something you want, if they're going to help you in any way, you better give them something they want. Or it's just not going to happen because they don't need to. That motivation isn't there. So if you want something that someone else has, or if they can help you in any way, or you're trying to buy a service or a product or a car or a house or anything that they have, you better find out what their motivation is, what their timing is, the reason they're looking to make a move in the first place, and what are the important things for them. One of the greatest stories that I saw, and I know if you guys have been in my coaching program for over 10 years, I've told this story a lot. There was a neighborhood in New Tampa, Florida. I used to live in that neighborhood. It actually is called Corey Lake Isles. Those of you from Tampa, you probably know the area. Every home is on a lake there. And that old man would not sell his land. Here's why. You guys know how it is when you're buying farmland. It's been in the family forever. I can't sell it. My great, great, great grandpa would be so mad if I ever sold this to a developer, right? Well, there was an old man that owned this and he wouldn't sell to developers. He wouldn't sell. It was swampland to begin with. That's the reason they dug the lake. He would not sell. Well, a smart developer came along and said, well, you're not going to be around forever. You said you're what, 85 years old? What are you leaving for your children? Are they going to keep this land? And then what, do they maintain it? And do they keep fighting people off and say, no, I want to keep the land? Like, what are we doing here? Well, I've only got one grandson and he's my world. He's everything to me. And I'd like to leave him some money and I'd like his life to be better. And, all I have are these assets like this. I'd like his life to be better. What's your grandson's name? Tell me a little bit about him. His name's Corey. He's the greatest kid in the world. Got it. Got it. The most important thing to this 85-year-old man is his grandson, Corey. And you got to see some of those beautiful homes that were developed over there at Corey Lake Isles. All you have to do is do something in honor of. Do something to help him along the way. Now, by the way, as Corey got older, he got his real estate license and thought he was going to be the realtor in the area. Literally, his name is Corey. He didn't sell very well, but that is the story as to how that was developed. That's the land that they would never come off of. That you got to find an emotional reason. You know what most developers were doing? Okay, how about 17 million? Okay, what about 18 million? Okay, well, you do 19 million. It's not about the money. The guy doesn't need any money. He's good. That's why, like with my racehorses, there's a lot of people that are always trying to buy racehorses. If you got a really good one that's really good early in their career, everybody come. They don't even try with me. What am I going to do with money? They don't even try to buy my horses. He's not selling. He doesn't want to sell. He likes to do this. He doesn't like to sell the horse and have somebody else do well with it. So when you're negotiating, if you're doing farmland, if you're doing, this has been in my family for 100 years, you have to find a way to get a different motivation together that gives them something to hold on to. That's negotiating. Not saying, okay, I'll give you more money. There is no number that will work for him, not 25 million. That's what negotiating is. So when I hear from agents all the time, what are the best qualities about you? I'm a really good negotiator. Okay, how? What do you say? Oh, they're asking 650. Let's offer 630. Oh, my buyer's not willing to go over 630. Do you think that's what negotiating is? If I put you in a room and we do this refrigerated truck negotiation, I'm curious what kind of number you would get. Because if you don't ask a lot of questions, you won't even know. You'd be surprised, like the gasp that you heard in the room, literally an audible gasp. When I said, all of you buyers, listen to this. The seller lost their trucking license. They're not allowed to drive the truck. What? You just met with them for 10 minutes. You didn't find that out? Yeah. They're behind on payments and they're going to lose their truck on Friday. They've said they're coming to repossess the truck on Friday if they don't get it sold. What? You met him 10 minutes. You didn't know that? He has $22,000 in equity. He could have went all the way down to $66,000 on that vehicle. Are you kidding me? What were you doing? How were you negotiating? I thought you said you as a real estate agent are a really good negotiator. You're not a good negotiator at all. You can't just, negotiator doesn't mean give lowball offers and see what happens. It doesn't mean see what since there's no other offers, we can start low and meet somewhere in the middle. That is not negotiating at all. There is no negotiating training in real estate because most coaches suck at negotiating. If you get this part of your business right, you are going to win big with the changes that are happening, with the new contracts that we have for buyers, with the fact that now they're going to say, I wouldn't pay you 3%. What if I think you didn't do a good job for me? What if you make me pay full price? You didn't do a good job negotiating. I had to pay full price. So now I'm not going to pay you 3%. I don't think you earned it. These are things that are going to be happening. And you don't think you can afford to be coached right now. I don't think you can afford not to. I don't think an awful lot of agents are going to make it through this because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to build value, to do a value stack, to show a menu of services. Do you want good, better, or best? Yes, I can do this, 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 and this, but it's going to cost you this much. If you don't want that, you're only getting this. I can do flat fee. It's just going to suck. If you're not doing that, or if you start this whole thing about, well, I always give everything I can to every client that I represent. I have a duty to do everything, the very best of then you suck. You suck at staging. You're not doing staging. You're not paying for that. You're not paying for all the additional target marketing you could do. You're not buying mailing lists, but you're doing regular average stuff and you want to do all of that. Well, all of that is basic. You're not going above and beyond. You can't afford to do the very best of the best of the best at a discounted fee. Nobody can. You would lose money. We've got agents that are spending 1.5% to 2% to get deals closed. Now, not on every deal, but on a small percentage of them, that's how it ends up. So you really have to think about, how am I going to value stack? How am I going to negotiate? How am I going to truly show them that there's a difference in agents and what they do and how well they negotiate, but also how well they can put that deal together for them? There's a difference in value. Cost is what you pay. Value is what you get. So we don't need to worry about what you're going to pay. Let's worry about what you're going to get. If I go to a Mercedes dealership, I could get good, better, or best. I could get junk, or I could get the best, right? There's value stack. Well, wait a minute. They should all be cheap. You should give me the very best car you have at the lowest price. No, the hell I shouldn't. Who told you that? You want junk? Go get junk. It's over on that side over there in the used car area that's got 186,000 miles on it. If you want new and shiny and smells like this and has the Apple CarPlay, then you got to pay for it. So you have to really get good at the negotiating side. And I think we may even do something like this on our inner circle call for negotiating buyer versus seller and showing you how you get to the truth. Because I think if you negotiate outside of real estate and you realize, okay, I own a trucking company and I need a new truck because I got a delivery of produce that I got to get over here. If I don't get that delivery of produce over there, I'm going to lose my contract altogether. So I got to find a truck. Well, that is the buyer's motivation. The seller's motivation has changed as well because they're about to get repossessed. Now we can come to some type of solution that makes sense. And you know who's going to win? Whoever asks the most questions. Not whoever has the best sales pitch, not whoever has the best slide deck. Oh, I got a really good sales presentation. What the hell do you need that for? To talk about how you're a fast-growing company and you're in 9 different countries and you have a relocation department and all this shit about you? Do you think I could have got a good deal on the truck I bought, on the farm I bought? Do you think I could get a good deal if I talked about me? I'd rather they don't even know who I am because you could Google me. The second they Google me, the shit's over. So you have to get to the truth about the prospect, the other party, if you're going to get some type of ammunition that you can use to give them what they want, which will make them more negotiable on other terms. Okay. So if I know, as an example, this one we're looking at here that I've got in contract now, if I know that September 17th is the date that they want to do possession, well, I can change possession, right? I can say, man, I need it before that. If I can get 50,000 off, I can take that much time. But otherwise, I need to move now. Well, it's going to cost us $70,000 to move all of our horses over to California and do all that other stuff because the mom horses have baby horses with them. So we need big box stalls, and that's going to be another $50,000 there. Then I need to negotiate a better deal if you want me to give you your desired September 17th date. See, I know that that's one position that I can control in negotiating. If I know that the truck owner is going to get repossessed on Friday, dude, I'm your last shot. As a matter of fact, if you let me walk out, you get $0 for your truck. You're going to owe them money for your truck. So you have to get very, very good at negotiating. I'm going to do some training on this. We'll probably do it on Inner Circle too. Those of you that are coming to the Columbus event, we're definitely going to be doing a lot on that because this is the keys to the kingdom. With anything you do in life, by the way, like I say, just getting another vehicle, you'd be shocked how many people get screwed on vehicles. And let me harp on this for a second because I think you can learn a lot from this. The number of people that are upside down on their car when they go to trade it in, how bad they get screwed on financing, on other terms, on interest rates, on purchase price as a whole, on you have to include the extended warranty, the etching of the security etching in the windshield, all the crap that they do. They're Scotch guarding the carpet, and they're charging crazy, literally a can of spray Scotch guard for $1,700. And they're building into it. Well, why do you care? It's only $7 extra a month. They are getting screwed, and it's because they're not taught how to negotiate the right way. But here's the takeaway for you today. If you are ever going back to that car option, if you ever negotiate the deal and you didn't physically walk out and have them chasing you and tugging on your shirt or knocking on your window, then you left money on the table. You have to always remember that. They should be chasing you. And by the way, I don't know what this means, but I think that's the salesperson sign to the sales manager. We got a great one on the line. We're really close. I don't want to let him walk out. So why don't you come out here with me and we'll bring him back in? And they literally chased me to the car and asked me to come back in. Now, I don't say that to brag by any means. I say that for you to do exactly the same thing, for you to save that extra $1,500. Now, it would have been $3,000 with anyone else, but I was able to get him to go back one more time to get it down to $1,500. And then I got the exact number that I said I would get when I walked in there. And sure enough, with taxes, tags, title, everything else, I wrote the check for $91,000, exactly as I anticipated. I knew exactly how much I was going to pay. I didn't meet in the middle. I didn't do any of that stuff because I know what my number is going to be. I know he's got to meet a quota in order to meet their guarantee, right? They're going to pay X dollars to bring him out to do this event. Plus they get $500 a car, but they get what's called clawbacks. I learned a lot about this by asking questions. They get clawbacks if they don't sell a certain number. So I'm going to be that extra number. I'm going to be that one extra one that helps them there. Kind of helps that there's a racetrack that's 5 miles down the road and I got a Rolodex here full of all kinds of people that buy trucks. That kind of helps too. I'd be happy to tell a couple of my friends as well. Maybe we can get you another sale here today. Right? So there's a lot of negotiating that goes into this, but I'm telling you, when you go out to negotiate a deal on your car, if they say yes to whatever you're doing, you screwed up. They should never agree until you've walked away. You got to get it close, but once you walk away, they will beg you to come back because they need that deal. And this is standard procedure for them. It makes them very uncomfortable. Like, I can't tell you how much control I felt when I could see them in the reflection in my sunglasses. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to buy it. I mean, we were so close. I was within $1,500. I can't believe they would let me walk away. But anyway, I'm on my way back. All right. All right. Bye. Oh, hey guys. You must have been hearing me, right? Like, I can't tell you how much control, because they're chasing you now. It's much easier when they're chasing you. That's that takeaway sale. So as a real estate agent, stop talking about yourself. Stop talking about your accolades. Nobody gives a shit that you paid somebody to get certified. If it helps you out, I want you to create the most amazing certification in the world. Give me $500 and I'll print it off for you. And I'll tell them that you're ABCD certified. You're the negotiating king of the world, NKW certified. Nobody gives a shit about you. Do me a favor. Learn about them. Find out their facts. Get to their truth. But what do you really want? But why are you really moving to Florida? What's really inspired you to sell your home? It's a pain in the ass to sell your home. Why are you guys doing this? How important is that to you? What if that doesn't happen for? What if you can't get moved before the snow falls? Is that okay with you? Because I don't want you to give your home away. I want to make sure we can get to your true goals. What if you don't get sold this year? What if you have to wait a year? Would that be okay? I can get all of those details. This is not like slimy salesperson. This is to get them to their truth, to help them with what they really want. Because you've done this yourself. You've said with anything else you've ever bought in your life, if I don't get to this price, I'm not buying it at all. And then sure enough, you let your ego get in the way and you walked away from it and you're like, damn, I probably should have bought that. I can't believe I got stuck on this arbitrary number and I just decided that was part of negotiating and now I'm screwed. I don't have what I wanted. How many times have we seen that happen or had that happen to ourselves? It's because we didn't do a really, really good job at getting to the facts, getting to the emotional triggers that are making this happen. So hopefully that's helpful for you here. And again, I will be doing that example, that refrigerated truck example. It's so cool to see that you've just got to ask them, if I were buying the truck, here's the first thing I'd ask. This is a nice truck, low miles. Why are you selling it? Okay, what happens if you don't get it sold? Okay, would you be able to wait 2 weeks? Would you be able to do seller financing for me? This is another important point. Be honest with yourself there, negotiator. Be honest with yourself about this. How many of the last 10 listing appointments you've went on have you asked them, can they do seller financing if the terms make sense? Do you have an assumable loan if the terms make sense? Would you be open to other options on financing if the terms make sense? If you're not even asking those questions, I promise you're leaving money on the table for you and for the seller. Because if I were selling this place right now, I could do seller financing. What the hell do I want the money for? I could do seller financing. If I don't know much about real estate and a listing agent comes in here, I'll bet you they never even ask me. We'll be doing a damn FHA deal. I think this one's above the FHA limit, but we'll be doing a conventional deal, PMI, no PMI, got to get appraised, all of this other crap. What if I had an assumable loan at 2%? And the agent never even asked it. Do you know how much more this house is worth if I have an assumable loan at 2%? We're doing these deals all over the country. The agent doesn't ask enough questions. They're not a good negotiator. A good negotiator does not mean I offer a low amount and I'm trying to get their number down. That's not what a good negotiator is at all. Ask lots of questions. You will do far better in the long run. And the sign of a great negotiation is when they accept your first offer, particularly when it's $250,000 less than what they were asking. If you're following this channel, if you ring the bell right here, you get really good training week after week after week. We've got lots of additional stuff we're going to be posting here. And hopefully, Inner Circle is still closed, by the way. We've been closed for over 4 months. We haven't allowed any enrollment. Might have a little 2-day surprise coming up for people over the next month or two. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But you should be following here at least, as well as Facebook. Let me know your thoughts on this over here in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. And let's get you making some more money as a real estate agent. Become a good negotiator. You're going to make a lot more money. And your clients are going to get what they want, which makes raving fans. Thanks for watching. I'm Greg Luther. And we'll talk soon. Bye-bye for now.